Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're taking a look at the Panasonic GX85 stroke GX80. This is actually the GX80 because it's the UK model. It is a superb little camera. It's very compact but beautifully made. It's got the 3-inch tilty-wilty screen, which is quite unusual for Panasonic because they usually put in an articulated screen, which is on my GH5, the GH4, the G7 and what have you. Maybe because of its compact size, they wanted to keep it compact. So it's basically got the screen that goes up, and the screen that goes down. I don't know if you can see that on either of these other close-up cameras. So that is the tilty-wilty screen with a lot of fingerprints on it. Now, it is fully automatic. It's got the manual features. You've got your control dial on the top here to change your various settings from automatic, manual, shutter speed, priority, filming, and what have you. It does shoot 4K video, and that was one of the reasons I purchased this particular camera. It's got the features that the GH4's got, the G7's got. It hasn't got what the GH5's got, but no way would you expect that. It's got a lovely electronic viewfinder. Really pleased with this electronic viewfinder. It's actually quite sharp as well. It isn't, you know, top of the range, but it gets the job done, and it's not bad at all. So you can see all your settings in here. It's actually quite sharp. It's surprising how sharp that is actually, to be honest. A really nice little viewfinder. On the back here, you've got your control pad. So you can set your ISOs, your focus areas, white balance and what have you. Now these function buttons are all definable, so you can set them to what you want. So for example, that one is a viewfinder. I've left that one as it is. That one I've set to the stabilizer. That's an interesting thing with this camera. It's got 5-axis image stabilization, which is phenomenal for a camera at this price point. And it is really good as well. It is really good for photos in low light, if you're shooting at a very slow shutter speed. It's also great for video, because obviously if you're walking or it's on a gimbal or whatever, brilliant for video. This would make a really good gimbal camera because of its sheer size. It's a micro four thirds mount, so it will take any lenses that are micro four thirds compatible. And I've got on there the 25mm standard lens, because 25mm micro four thirds terms is actually a 2x crop factor, so that becomes 50mm. But that's Panasonic's 25mm lens, which is really sharp. On the top here, the top plate, you can see the various controls, as I say, the command dial. It's got an aperture. I use it for aperture, changing the aperture wheel on the front here, which is around the shutter release. And they've placed the video record button on the top, which actually is very sensible. Sony, in their wisdom, have placed it on the bloody side, and it's a pain in the bum. Although the new Sonys have got the record button in a much more sensible position. And hot shoe for taking flash or whatever. So it's got quite a few features. What it hasn't got a mic input or a headphone jack, which is a real bummer. This would have been great. Well, it is great, but it would have been even better if it had a mic input and a headphone jack. But you can't have everything. What I've done, I've purchased a Tascam, which I've already done a review on, a Tascam, the SG10 or something. So that fits on there. So that gives me my portable sort of video recording features, but this has got a built-in SD card, so it's actually an audio recorder as well as a shotgun mic, so I can just then sync it in post. And in Final Cut 10 it's ever so easy to sync audio with video. I've done it many times and it's a piece of cake to do, so you don't need to worry about that. So let's take that off for a moment. You can monitor, again, you can monitor the audio coming into this via the headphone jack that's built into this. So that gets around the audio situation. And you end up with a really nice compact little camera. It has got its touchscreen, which is absolutely awesome. Panasonic are so good with their touchscreens. So you can actually use it You can use it to scan through images. I don't know if you can see that there, but you can use it for scanning through images, which is really good. And then you can also use it for touch to focus. So if we look at focusing on something, I don't know what, you can actually just point the focus point and that's where it will focus. And you can adjust the size of that focus point by doing that. So you get a really small, that's better. You get a much more accurate focus point and that's where it will focus on. So that works in video as well. So you can actually move, you can do focus pulling with that. And on a camera at this price point and this size, I find that I'm staggered with that. You know, that's pretty impressive. But you can actually do that. That's usually reserved for the far more expensive, for bigger cameras. I mean, the GH5 does it superbly. The new Sonys do that, touch to focus, and it's excellent. But where the Panasonic's gain is when you're playing back images. You know, as I say, you can see your images, but you can also blow them up, or you can just double tap, and that zooms in on the actual image. You know, it's really, really clever, isn't it? And really useful when you're out filming or out taking photographs. You don't want to be flapping around trying to see if that image is sharp. All you got to do is tap it, and that's it. Well, that's already, oh, it's a different image. Tap it, and there you go. Tap it again, takes you back to the full size image. It's got only the one SD card slot that just slots in the back here, which is fine. You don't need two SD card slots with a camera of this size. And it has got Hdmi out, which is great because that's great for feeding the monitor, which if you're doing, you know, vlogging or something, you might want to fit a monitor on the top so you can actually, a little monitor, so you can see what you're doing. Yeah, what more can I say? The image quality, it's a 16 megapixel micro four thirds sensor. So it's probably quite an old sensor now, but it is actually really good. They've taken out the anti-alias filter, so you get a much sharper image, and the image is excellent. If we look at that, for example, as overall the colours are lovely, the sharpness is really good. When you zoom in, it's still absolutely gorgeous. The image is so sharp, it's really, really nice. And this makes this camera a really good travel camera, and the fact that you can adapt it with a whole range of lenses, very new 8 to 18 Leica, sort of Panasonic Leica lens, that is absolutely gorgeous. Oh, that is so nice. I will be doing a review on that lens. I've also got the 12 to 35, but that's actually on my Panasonic GH5. Out of interest, I'm filming the main angles with the Panasonic GH5, Panasonic GH5 over there. Over here, picking up some of the close-up shots, is my Sony A6500, and over here on the other angles, picking up the other close-up shots, is the A7R Mark III. So there we have it. So yeah, no anti-alias filter, so you get really nice sharp images. Great as a little travel camera. But what you can also do, because it's a mirrorless body, you can adapt it with, say, like a Metabones adapter, and put on any glass you like. For example, I've got my favourite Sigma lens, the 18 to 35 art lens. Now, it's a bit pathetic, really, sticking a beast like that on this body, but it goes on via the Metabones adapter, and there you have it. Look at that. That's a heck of a beast now, isn't it? You know, and it'll work just fine. No problem at all there. Autofocus works. It's pretty snappy, really. Don't know if you can hear that. That's working pretty well, isn't it? There we go. You know, that's a well nifty lens, that. And it's a gorgeous lens. I use this lens predominantly with my Sony A7R II because it creates gorgeous bokeh because it's an f1.8 lens. I don't use it for stills on the A7R II because it gets complicated now. This is a crop sensor lens designed for crop sensor bodies, so it knocks the A7R II down from 42 megapixels down to about 18 because you have to use it in crop sensor mode. But it is a gorgeous lens. But this camera body is excellent, isn't it? You know, I use this as a travel camera when I'm going out and about, purely because of its size. You know, I wouldn't stick a dirty great big lens like that on it. Obviously, I would normally I'd probably use me 8 to 18 lens. It's a little, yeah, it's reasonable size. It's not pocket size, but it's not particularly huge either, you know. And because it's wide angle, it's ideal. You don't have to worry about you know, focusing issues too much, although the autofocus on this is excellent. So there we go. It's a really nice little camera, micro four thirds, 16 megapixel sensor, all the auto and manual features, HDMI output, tilty multi screen. I mean, it's a 3-inch tilty screen, assignable function buttons. What more can I say? That's pretty much, why don't I just say that at the start? That's pretty much it, isn't it? And really nicely made. That's beautiful. It's really good. So there we go. That's the Panasonic GX80 or GX85, depending on where you live. Oh, and batteries. Batteries last for a long time in this. It's, yeah, it does well. The battery isn't as good as the GX80, the GH5 or the GH4, well, particularly the GH4. That goes on forever. But it is a much smaller battery. You can see the battery size isn't that big. But yeah, no, it works really well. Very pleased with it. I do hope you enjoy my reviews. I enjoy making them. Please hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. Tell all your friends. That would be marvellous. So thanks very much. See you again soon. Bye for now.